Oh, we're live. How you doing? You all right, everybody? I was going to go to bed. I just after doing a live stream with my mate Andy Wallace. Did we that? Hey man, you like music like House of Pain, Crazy Town, Cypress Avenue. No, Cypress Hill. Sorry, not Cypress Avenue. Cool man, Boston Red Sox, Pee Wee hockey leagues. Ball game. I like the ball game. How are you, Danny McCarthy Thompson? How are you? I'm all right, mate. Not too bad, mate. Not too bad. 15 people, 16. I like where it's going. Fionn Dalton. It's been a week since my last confession, lads. It's been a week since my last confession. I was going to fuck off to bed, but I thought it'd be nice to chat to you all. Big Potato, Jasmine Parkland, all the boys. Marking King. How are you all doing? How's things? Can you hear me, first of all? Joe Rogan be trushed. Joe Rogan, some man. Peter, you're welcome. J. Keen Hallows. I was trying to figure out if everyone was the kids were having a nightmare or if it was the sound of the cylinder in the back of the fridge creaking. Patrick. He's all right, yeah. How did the gig go last Thursday? Last Thursday. Fuck, was it last Thursday, was it? Oh, yeah, it went well. Yeah, it was good crack. I was playing this place called the Anchor Bar, which was it's a hard rock bar in Stockholm, and it went well. I ordered a couple of over here. Or there's a Finnish drink called Long Drink. It's kind of a bit like a nicer version of gin and tonic that you get on draft, and they give it to you in these frozen tankards. And if you have two of them together, it sounds like banging two bowling balls. It's like dunk. It's a really nice, it's a beautiful touch. So I had a few of them when I was playing, and Zach Sava. I'm not even going to mention that because it's going to go straight into the demonetized. So I'm going to try and use. I think we'll call him Woody Reptile because he looks a bit like Woody Allen, and he's probably a reptile according to David Icke. I'm on about the software magnet that is like fucking Zorn from James Bond. Which James Bond? View to a Kill. We got Christopher Walken plays this guy called Zorn, and there's a scene where he's fucking shooting all these workers in his. They're all working from in Silicon Valley, building this big. Funny how James Bond was ahead of his time with this like a Silicon Valley tech giant. No, not at all. TQ. I was actually talking about. I'll continue down, but Woody Reptile. I think the name is in the gates of hell, man. But the gig went well. When you're playing a rock bar, you're kind of expecting them. I mean, there's kind of some cheesy elements to it as well. You know, there are people who like Scorpions and stuff I wouldn't really listen to. So like, I had good crack though. I'd how are you, Jade? I had good crack doing it. Like there was, like, I got to the stage in the night where I'd say, "Are you fans of this?" I'd say, "Are you fans of Alice in Chains? Right? Do you want them Bones, Rooster, or fucking?" You know, and I give them a choice and have a bit of crack between songs. So that was good crack. I played another gig on Saturday night. I was supposed to be playing with a mate of mine, Tud, and I came in, but bearing in mind it was two hours late. I had a bit of business to take care of before going in, and champ boxer. If ever there was a time we needed a champ boxer to fight the powers, could do a few lads who could throw slaps, man. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, the gig on Saturday was good crack. He just did one song and then he was like, "Oh, fucking, we'll take a break. I'll do one song, we'll take a break," and then I just played for the rest of the night. But that was good crack, you know. Took the dog out for an old 10k run yesterday as well. I think I did about 6k without stopping and felt that in the hips today, man. The hips don't lie, do you know what I mean? Wycliffe Jean, Shakira job. Shakira had a class body. Yeah, that would have been a nice touch. Asked this the last time, but you must have missed it. What's the story with the running Pierce Brosnan's wedding joke in Hardy Books? I just thought it's funny, man, because it would have been funny the idea of, because he got married in Ballintubber, which was down in near Kong. I just thought it'd be funny, like if the lads had opportunistically hopped the fence and blagged their way into Pierce Brosnan's wedding. He's like, "Yes, welcome to the wedding. Who are you?" Like, "Oh, we're working here, man, as bar staff." You know, who knows? Shakira would still get a champ. Christopher McNicholas. Is that Christopher McNicholas from Swinford by any chance? Stanley Park, like Graham Russell, what? So yeah, other than that, it's been fairly quiet. There's a guy who I find quite funny. There's a guy called Critical Drinker. Does a lot of movie reviews, but I've noticed there's a pattern in his in reviews. He's he's an intelligent dude. You can definitely tell he's got a handle on it. But I just think he complains about the way wokenomics has dominated Hollywood, and it'll all change, man. There'll be something else will come along. I think in the world today there is misplaced altruism and championing causes that are already won. And I think there it's a smokescreen to divert interest away from rampant capitalism. I just did a podcast with my mate Andy Wallace. I went on for about 2 hours, so that should be out tomorrow, hopefully. So a lot of what I'm covering has probably already been covered, but we had a chat on the phone earlier on today, and he said, as Shawnee would in the chat wrote on the Discord group earlier on, that Bezos is now a trillionaire. So last year he was worth 120 billion. In the matter of months, he's now a trillionaire. I mean, that's just there he is. Speak of the devil. Tarantino still stamps out woke stuff. Tarantino, man, I have a theory about the likes of Harvey Weinstein and Tarantino. A lot of Tarantino's stuff is racial propaganda designed to separate the intersectional race lines within America. It's all about exploiting previous oppression, that kind of thing, and it would suit the likes of Weinstein and all those guys. I never understood about like how Harvey Weinstein, all those guys in Hollywood, they're all anti-gun, but yet their films are pure and utter gun porn. They're fucking hypocrites, man. It's all bollocks. Tarantino sniffs the shoes and clocks. You heard it first. A wronging and a bad wronging at that. I think we're fucking sliding into a weird one, man. I was like, if you look at, we live in a culture now where the taxpayer bails out major financial institutions but gets nothing back from their private gains. That's private. And I just think we're being fucking exploited, and people's attention is being diverted in ways, let's say, referendums and social issues that appear to be progressive but don't actually affect the standard of living in a country. It's kind of like, look over here, quick. If you look at the water protests, the water meter protests back in Ireland, 2014, everyone was on the same page, man. And then Ireland kind of, it was getting pretty close with people getting pissed off with the way things were in Ireland, and now all of a sudden, all those people you would see together at the march have now been divided among different kind of preferences, let's say. But I think in these times, man, everyone needs to band together. And I can't. This the annoying thing about modern times. People can't see. People look at the differences between each other instead of the similarities and the common causes. Instead of, like, if you were to meet people who have a different political view in a pub or in a shop, just don't bring that up. Don't talk about politics when you're out. And I won't talk about any more of that political shit because it's fucking boring, man. Who wants to hear me talk about that? What would you like me to talk about? Throw some shite into the chat, and I'll do my best to have the crack with you. Because I feel a lot of you guys, man. You're all, and as Graham Russell said, you can see the jealousy just oozing out of them. But the thing is, like, I realize a lot of you guys, you're fucking. I can't really imagine how it must feel to have been locked in for the last 2 months. Do you know what I mean? It's the body and the cash, man. The body and the cash. But yeah, I mean, so I was having a chat with a friend of mine today, and he's saying, oh no, it was Boo. It was Tammy Boo yesterday, and he goes, "You don't realize." He was like, "I liked your videos, man. The podcast is good. I like it." I was like, "Thanks very much." And he goes, "You don't really realize how fucking bored and lonely and depressed people are and I'm like, yeah. So like, it's nice for me to be able to come on and have the crack with you guys and cheer you all up. Hardy Book season 5. I keep putting things up. Today I said like, come on, pull a finger out. I'm well up for doing a Hardy Book series 5, man. I think it's long overdue. I don't know what the crack is with Colgan and Tordoff. I mean, like they're doing well by themselves, but it's all right for them to do well. But what about the fucking rest of the lads who are raring to get back in the saddle and do another go? So we'll see. We'll see what the story is. But I would like. I miss it. But it's just getting mental time. And I was going to talk a little bit about what it's like in my mind having ADHD, because it's something that is it's definitely something that affects my behavior and always has done. Like I was having a meeting today in school with my daughter. It was very similar to me, and I had memories. I think the first time I was ever in front of the headmaster, I was 5 years old, and it just kind of all through school, I was always in trouble in some shape or form. Nothing so bad, like, do you know what I mean? Nothing bad, but just impulsive, daft, messing about behavior. So Jonah Anderson can't even meet up on a date, which is shite. That is shite, man. But who's stopping you? Really, just meet up and find it. There's no drones in the sky over there, but just have a little excuse lined up and bring her over to the house. So Viper reposting the 3 books left post about fans and whatnot. I don't think that's the real Viper, to be honest with you. I don't think maybe Hades speaks. Make Tartaria great again. I talked about Tartaria with Eddie Bravo, and he's like, Tartaria, man, that's like the last empire of Jesus. And I was like, whoa, that's a mad one. How comes Bob Bruce? Good to see you, mate. I was thinking about going Trailer Park Boys animated books could last longer than The Simpsons. The thing is about that, if like I spoke to a guy called Kenny Noble. I don't know if you've seen that bootleg Jesus thing that Owen did. I was on this guy Kenny Noble. He apparently did some stuff with Steel Panther, and I'm still waiting to find out what the story is with this. How long it's taken him to do this Mayo Man, which is going to be like kind of a Marvel Universe piss take with Hardy Books, and just get a pilot going. I must chase him up and see what the crack is there. It's a fan page. Yeah, I thought it was a fan page. Some young lad twice the size of a duck. 2 hands out in a duck, that lad. It was the old world order of goodness. Do you know what, man? I think the world needs a bit of goodness. Just like not fucking bollocks dressed up as goodness, but just genuine fucking goodness. I watched an interesting video today. It was with Carl Pilkington met David Icke. It's fucking hilarious, man. Actually, I'm gonna leave it for you in the comment section, because it was very funny. And then he was like, people talk to me, treated like I'm an idiot. And David Icke said, I don't think you're an idiot. I think you're quite intelligent. And if people don't want to, if you believe in what you believe and you believe what you believe is right, and people don't want to hear it, well, fuck them. It's funny to like. David Icke, actually, in fairness to him, is a testament to continuing on with something against all odds.
Bad thing. The fella I'm on the way to see here, he said his head opened up one day, right? Load of knowledge went in there, turned his life upside down.
Yeah, I can recommend this little video 1 second. But yeah, he goes, people don't want to believe it, fuck them. And David Icke, man, like my sister Trisha was always like a fan of him, and always kind of like, she said, oh yeah, like I remember, like she watched it live the time when he was on Wogan. And the funny thing is, back in the day, before like the decentralization of media and like the internet and cable, TV had much more of a monopoly over people's way of thinking, because you had, like in England, for example, you had 4 channels. You had BBC One, BBC Two, Channel 4, and ITV. So 4 channels. So people would, if you imagine like the power of VHS and even came along, you had 4 channels to choose from. So everybody would watch 4 channels, and so the demographic of everyone watching TV, you had a choice of 4 items to watch. And if you think of how much content was being made and vying to be made, everything was hand selected by the network. So you'd often see these. It was like a collective viewing of something that everyone would be talking about the next day in school. But Patricia remembered the days, like she's seen Tommy Cooper die on stage. Apparently, Tommy Cooper, the comedian, he's like just like that. He died live on stage wearing with his fez, and apparently they thought it was a joke, and his feet were sticking out of the curtain as they drew the curtain over, and they realized he died. But similar to that, the David Icke, Terry Wogan experience. For those of you who haven't heard of it, Gary Brown, Pilkington, and Icke was hilarious. It was brilliant, man. But David Icke went on to Terry Wogan. He went on to the Terry Wogan show, and he's like, "Well, I went out to Peru, and I had this amazing experience, and I was told that I am the Son of God." And then you can hear the whole audience just like laughing, and he goes, "All right, yeah, you can laugh." And he goes, "They think it's funny," and then Terry goes, "I don't think they're not laughing with you; they're laughing at you." And he fucking stitched David Icke up, and for years the man was walking down the street, people laughing at him, going, "Oh, there he is, lizards," and all this kind of stuff. And now he's fucking playing Wembley, and he's the fact that he got deplatformed on YouTube is, I mean, there's a lot of censorship going on at the moment. Fucking YouTube, man, it's all right, fuck you, mama duck. But they're they're basically they're I think it's up to the viewer to decide what they believe is true or not. It's up to the viewer who consumes this information to have the discernment to make their own opinion. And I don't think YouTube has any right. Like it ceases to be a platform and becomes a publisher. And I think that at this stage, it's time to let the internet be the town square. And if you have an idea that isn't worth doesn't stand up to scrutiny, then let it be debated in the public arena. And that's my 2 cents on it. Colgan's on the verge of losing it. He needs another series of books badly. Why? What do you mean by that, Kieran? Is he going down the corporate RTE route? Is he? So fucking hell, yeah. Joe Rogan, a man who's already minted beyond belief, goes to Spotify for $100 million, and a friend of mine works in Spotify and was very lucky to keep his job. So I just don't understand how you can cut off all of your. You can cut a load of staff and pay someone who's already loaded to just be exclusively on your platform. I don't get it. Louis Catrone, hello from Texas. How are you, mate? Whereabouts in Texas are you from? Joe Wogan. Why did Series 2 plotline not continue? What happened to that Russian last? That's an interesting one, Michael, because the recession hit Ireland. We were looking to do a Series 3. RTE didn't have the money, and then Mike went to Universal and RTE with the idea of pitching the film for the Euros. So we had to work fast. And yeah, unfortunately, it didn't. We just weren't able to. Plus, I also I just recently become a father as well. And I had a lot of stuff going on personally. So what's this here? We've gone so backwards in 300 years, gone from gods to animals. Interesting. That's an interesting comment, actually. Twisted Hippie says people are too stupid to understand reality, to be honest. Well, they are, man, because see, if you look at mainstream, like, kind of come to the conclusion, if you've got a closed mind, will never be fed. Do you know what I mean? You're either open-minded, and there's nothing wrong with being wrong. I mean, we're all going through the world trying to navigate and find out what the true meaning of the nature of reality is. Lately, I've been getting this weird feeling, man, like it no longer feels like the world that I grew up in. It's weird. We're living in really bizarre times, and I'm sure a lot of people have felt this way before, where you live in a time where you're expected to have a great quality. In fairness, like a lot of us living in the West, we're basically we're reaping the fruits of previous generations' labor. And it's quite similar if you look at the Roman Empire or any any kind of large civilization that's gone before us, it's always like the final few generations just kind of decay into decadence because there's no everything is just given to us. I mean, like when when it all started, what did people do? They went straight to the shop and they bought toilet roll and pasta, and they took for granted that those supply chains would still be going, and you could actually go to the shop and buy all these ingredients. But if the grid goes out, for example, or if there's some sort of cataclysmic event, you don't have any plumbing, you don't have any sewerage, you don't have any healthcare, you have no transportation, there's no food. The supermarkets would be the first place pillaged and ransacked. It'd be absolute fucking chaos, man. I mean, and I think we're like sometimes I think that maybe military service wasn't a bad idea. I mean, I think to throw a bunch of lads up in the woods and women and make them figure out. I was talking to a girl last week who said that she was doing a girl called Eleanor who she trained to do a firefighter course up in the north of Sweden, and during the middle of the night they'd be asleep and they just throw in like a fucking bucket of water on them in like minus 23 degrees and tell them that they needed to run through the forest and then find their way back, and this is the kind of stuff they did. But all that kind of stuff, it trains you. I mean, like I've gone soft lately myself. Like, I mean, I used to wake up and take a cold shower every day. And that sucked. I mean, it never got any easier, but you accepted it. And now I'm like, ugh, I've got to get back into the fitness as well. It's just time, and of late, I kind of feel like I don't have time to focus. I mean, I've just done a podcast with Andy, and I have a podcast with my sister, my elder sister, who's good crack. But it's just trying to concentrate on that as well. But hopefully, I'll have one or the other up tomorrow on the Hardy Books podcast. What else? Yeah, I'd love to start doing a few more videos where I just kind of do some comedy and then cut it together. Good crowd in here. Actually, there is a good crowd in here off the Irish podcast. All the boys. Alan Dardis. What's he saying there? Hey, I've lost it. People are a few missed meals away from murder. Man, have you ever worked in a restaurant? Working in a restaurant is one of the most stressful jobs out there, and you're dealing with people who are dressed well, courteous, but get them hungry and keep them waiting long enough. They'll get pissed off, and there's nothing brings out. I mean, if you meet people who get hangry, they lose their shit. But this is like they've missed one meal. Like my ex-wife, and that's not like an ex-wife joke. She's one of those people who just gets fucking really moody if she doesn't get rub into her, and then afterwards she's grand. And then the thoughts on online dating, Lark. Online dating. What are we talking about? Like online dating is in Tinder and Bumble and all those kind of things. I did a fair bit of it myself after becoming single, and it became too much, man. Like I don't like disappointing people and letting people down. I've never really been good at like breaking it off with girls and that kind of thing. And I think it's making something that was previously very intimate, very disposable, and I mean, it works out for some people, but I think a lot of us have people my age, younger and older generations, I'd say like the last generation, the last 35 years, have been exposed to a lot of kind of sexuality from an early age, and I suppose programmed from like Hollywood music videos, movies. I was watching Clueless there a couple of weeks ago, and there's a bit in Clueless where they're like, "Oh my God, you're a virgin." And it's like they're 15. It's like you can imagine like girls back in the 90s like, oh man, it's so uncool to be a virgin. But it's like American Pie was the same crack. It was like Jen got hot. The rule of three. If guys say they've been with like one woman, or it's like guys have been with 3 times less and women have been with 3 times more. And then you just believe, as an 18-year-old, you're like, yeah, fucking hell, man, is that real? Yeah, shit, it must be because it's in the film. My grandmother had a great saying that was passed on by my mother was paper doesn't refuse ink. And my sister works in PR, and so that gave me a good insight into the true nature of print journalism and news and entertainment news. You could like PR basically is public relations, which will boost a client for someone who wants to promote a film, someone who wants to promote a band or a single or whatever it is, a product. The PR industry and publicists will spin a narrative around the product or the show in order to create a story to slip in the advertising. And obviously the papers are looking for stories, so the papers go to the PR companies. And if you can do that with the world of show business and celebrities, then what's going to stop you doing that with geopolitical affairs or fiscal policies and this kind of thing? So yeah, I mean, so my sister told me this. One thing that she learned in her time at PR was believe nothing of what you hear and half of what you see. And I mean, even like when I had that fight a couple of years ago, the big tree, it was splashed all over the paper. It was like Martin Maloney, Hardy Bucks actor, attacks three men in pub. It didn't go into the details of what happened, but it was nice and sensational to run with the headline. And Tommy Boo's dad, we were chatting about it one day after it was all finished, and he said, "Anna Martin, you know the old saying, good news doesn't sell." When I was acquitted, rightfully, a little column like this, but when it came to being arrested for it, it was fucking double page spreads. So this is the world of media, and I think the most what the main takeaway of what I'm saying is use your own judgment, read between the lines. Always think who benefits, and we're living in fucking crazy times, man. The world is now in effective martial law, and you got Donald Trump saying that he's going to put mandatory military, the military going to come and administrate vaccines. So you don't even know what you're vaccinating against. So it's fucking crazy, man. It's what's in them, you know. Anyone talking about it is deplatformed, call it conspiracy theories. The word conspiracy theories was actually invented by the CIA after the Kennedy assassination. For anyone who looked into it, and it's just basically, if they can't, if it wouldn't really be cost effective to just fucking go out and kill anyone who was interested in uncovering plots, but to character assassinate them is you can do it remotely without having to bump someone off. So, I mean, like you got this thing called Snopes, which probably a lot of you are aware of. It's a man and his wife. He started with his ex-wife, and now his other wife was a porn actress. So a pornographer is now the authority on what's real and what's not. Trump's some Egypt. They're all fucking Egypts, man. There was I was actually on Reddit today, and it gave the names of all of the representatives who have made it, who have granted. Let me see if it's on Reddit. Basically, what's happened is. Hold on, I'm going to Reddit. I can find it. Yeah, but on Reddit, basically, there's a list of all of the Congress who. But yeah, so basically, they want to give the FBI the power to go through your internet and search history. And if you look at the internet, isn't it funny how it's called the internet or the World Wide Web? It was invented by DARPA, and we've all basically slowly walked into all this with our eyes closed. Everyone we know. I mean, all this contract. I don't want to be going down rabbit holes, man, because it's a bit fucking boring, right? I'm sure you've heard it already, but um, I just want to live in a world of fucking freedom, where we have the liberty to. There's enough for everyone. It's just like this whole thing, man, is the amount of small businesses that are going to go out and people losing their jobs, and the likes of fucking Bezos just clearing up. Like we're going past the point of fucking no return economically, and it's not up. Like my mate works in he works in finance. He said the markets haven't even been impacted, but caught in the web, man. Yeah, and it's just and it's like over here in Sweden, like you can't. There's so many things you can't do without your. Everything is tied to your social number, and then you have a thing called Swish, which is like a cashless payment, and you can basically it's quite handy. I mean, all these things will be sold to us as a way of convenience, but like you can just like pay. You go through your bank ID and your Swish account, and then you can send over like 1,000 quid just like this. So it's quite handy, but at the same time, if you're like tech illiterate or you're elderly, the shit you have to go through, like the banks are closed down, you can't even lodge, you can't exchange money in a bank anymore and lodge it. You have to go to an exchange, and then you lose money on that, and then you can only put in like 1,500 quid at a time for in a month. So like they just want everyone. They want to know where it's like a rule for them and not for us. So fuck it, man. I'm getting. What can we do as people? We're also fucking divided and arguing over shit instead of coming together and going, have an open mind, look into it. It's like the burden of proof on all this shit is on the people who are like the people like Gates and whatnot. The burden of proof is on him to prove that what he's not doing or what he is doing. So is it still busy over there? Yeah, it is, man. It's a lot of hospitality has taken a hit. There's a certain like capacity and a limit of how many people can come in. Bar staff are petrified that they'll be closed down because there's a rule where if you're having a pint, you have to be sitting down having the pint, and then you have these people who come in from the customs or whatever the fucking Department of Health is that comes in, and there's the place where I was doing a gig last week apparently got closed down on Sunday. And then when you're having a few pints, and the bar staff are like, "Sit down!" Like, I mean, they're getting really stressed out about it. I was having a pint the other day, and the bar woman just said, "Sit the fuck down" to everyone. So it's bad crack, man, bad fucking crack. The worst thing in life is going for a bowl of Rice Krispies and you forget there's tit all left, and all you get is sawdust at the bottom. Yeah, been there myself. Raise your children like Apache warriors. Yeah, I live in the city, man. There's a lot. There's one side of me that really misses the rural aspect of living in Ireland, like a small, close community. I mean, it has its drawbacks, and it's like there's a lot of gossip and back chatting. But at the end of the day, it's. I think it's a nicer way of life. I mean, it's cool to live in a city as well. I've often like an observation that I've found living a man who has lived both in rural areas and urban areas is you've kind of got the best of both worlds because you understand like small town diplomacy a lot better. Like if someone from a city is dropped into somewhere like Swinford, where I'm from, and they kind of have, and they're hanging out with people who are into the old fighting crack, and they say the wrong thing. It's very easy for them to get a slap, but they have the grace of ignorance towards their behavior that will kind of see them through. Because like I've often been in small towns where I don't know who anyone is, I don't know who the shape throwers are or who the wrong person to talk to. I'll just chat to everyone, and usually if you're friendly and you're polite and you're charismatic, you can you'll usually be all right. And on the other hand, let's say if you have someone from Swinfield who ends up in Manhattan or Las Vegas, it's easy to kind of get duped if you're used to kind of a high trust and familiarity of characters that you know. So if you lived in both rural and urban areas, you've kind of got the best of both worlds in some ways. So that was just that's an old observation that I've pondered upon for years. Cheeky Bezos. The old roads of County Mayo, Sheen Campbell by Tyrone Buchel. If you got girls, give them away, only raise the boys. Nah, man, you gotta love your kids, man. And it doesn't matter what they are, if they're boys or girls, it doesn't matter. You just gotta do your best as a parent to make sure that you can raise some of the best candidates for society. And it's not easy, being a parent is it's a tough job for any of you guys who know. Actually, I wrote something yesterday that I was working on. I think I'll read it out. Like, it was something I've been working on, but I'll read this bit about being a parent. The biggest change for me was becoming a parent. The focus shifted from the individual desire, career, hedonism, and material needs. You now have the responsibility of raising a fresh human being. It's scary. You're entering the unknown. One day you're given a tiny, fragile human being and are expected to be instantly in love. You are, but like anyone else, you have to get to know them with time. And it's, for most of us, one of the most rewarding things we can do in adult life. It gives you an extra sense of purpose. Sure, it's a few years of interruption, but you'll miss out on parties, concerts, exercise, watching box sets, but you get used to it. Appreciating the limited free time you have to catch up with friends or go out and get absolutely mashed beyond reason. You start to see the world through your own inner child self again, and you want to preserve your own child's innocence as long as you can. The idea of your children being on the internet and stumbling across something that disturbs them becomes a real issue. The idea of, giving phones to kids and they search the wrong thing into Google Images. There's a lot of, that's a lot of mad shit that you have to kind of anticipate as a parent, and then online weirdos as well. You look back over all the stupid and dangerous things you've done in your own life, and hope and pray you can pass on as much wisdom as possible to the next generation. Not just your own children, but all children. You want them to be safe out there in the world, but you will one day have to come to terms with the fact that they are on loan to you, and that you have to trust in their judgment and discernment. As the old saying goes, ships are safest in harbour, but it's not what they're built for. Our own children will have to learn some tough lessons, and as parents, it's up to us to help pick them up, dust them off, hug them, and let them know that they're doing the right thing, or tell them straight that if they're going down the wrong path. You think about your own parents and the sacrifices they made, the mistakes they made with us, and realize that they didn't have any idea what they were doing, even though at the time you believed that they were the center of the universe and they knew everything, but they were only human and relatively young in some cases. The older you get, you realize it's inevitable that you must surrender the things of youth gracefully, that everything shall pass and we will lose loved ones, we will age, slow down, lose our looks, become uncool and outdated, complaining about the lack of morals in society the same way our predecessors would have done. It's life, and it's our duty to pass on the wisdom to the next generation and try and leave the world in a better state than we found it. All of the mad shit you've been into starts to appear, or all of the mad shit you've been into starts to appear shallow as you wonder what it was you did with all the spare time. It's mostly for that reason we change our behavior as we grow older. That said, it took me a good while to accept the responsibility of parenthood. It's frightening at first. You're tired all the time, but so that was I wrote a little bit about school as well, which was, personally, I never liked school apart from when we would go off textbook and ask teachers questions. It was in those times I felt like I was being given personal and anecdotal accounts from the teacher's own experience, which changed the dynamic in the classroom. It was free and open discussion and theories of ideas, which is being stifled today with mollycoddling individuals and putting them in safe spaces to avoid uncomfortable feelings of being contradicted or having their personal narrative questioned. Many people today of all ages have become rigid in their thinking on all sides of the political spectrum. Instead of looking at what we all have in common, we judge each other on the differences, and it's polarizing society. So yeah, basically that's the other thing as well. Is kind of it's the important it's education as well. It's I never liked it, man. I mean, generally school was grand, but expecting a child to sit there all day and listen and absorb material from the curriculum. In the old days, teaching would have been handed down through. You would have had, like, if you ever noticed, there's a lad from my town called Kevin Murta, right? He's a Soundskin. He's one of these cute lads who always hung out with his dad, and he was like, even in school, he felt like like he seemed older than the rest of us because he was listening to what his dad was teaching him, and these lads who they would, it does young kids well to hang out with elders of the tribe. And that's the way it always was. That's how you learn. It's oral traditions and wisdom that's passed on, and that's all we can do is learn from our mistakes, be free to make mistakes, and you know what? There's nothing wrong with making mistakes, and some people it takes them longer to learn. I'm one of those people who will ride anything to the fucking wheels come off, and I've been an absolute piss taker in life. Like I said, my first encounter with the headmaster, I remember in school I was 5, and all through school I was always in some form of discipline. But I found that in a weird way, from talking to headmasters and negotiating and compromising, how I found myself in a realm that most other students in school didn't, where you're talking on a, like in secondary school we had our principal was called Father Steve. It came to the point where I was just like, all right, Steve, like, how are you, Mark? What are you up to today? And it was yeah, yeah, Hades there. A lot of standing with standing in the corner and whatnot. But in some ways, like, of all of the hard times that I grew up in or grew up with, and I've been through quite a lot of mad shit in life. It tempers you for, I think, like I said, without saying ships are safest in harbor, but it's not what they're built for. Everyone has to learn from experience, and it's difficult to put an old head on young shoulders. So people gave me great advice. People gave me shit advice as well. Some people will give you advice maybe because they're jealous and that you've got it all ahead of you. But some people will give you genuinely good advice. You take that advice on board, but you still go off and do the wrong thing anyway, because I often live the life of, I'd rather do something and pay the price and learn from it than regretting never have done it before. It's like a time when I was a teenager. My mate Chris, he used to like rob his parents' Peugeot 405 Turbo, and we'd go driving around it, and I'd be like, Chris, are you not worried or scared about getting into trouble? He's like, I'll just enjoy the crack now and worry about that later. So, and if you like this, please do give a thumbs up as well. Yeah, that would be greatly appreciated. Yeah, so in 25 years we've gone to pot. Yeah, man, it's it's just because we've been given everything, really. Like, if you and what happens is, when you start expecting everything, like, you feel entitled, and you start looking for things to complain about. My cousin was himself and his wife a couple of years ago. They went around South America on a holiday, and he said he was just watching these 2 kids kicking a Coke can around some alleyway in Peru, in Lima, and he said, "Man, you want to see them, Martin? Like, they were the happiest fucking lads you've ever seen, just kicking an empty can of Coke around the road." And it's kind of like, when you appreciate things when if you don't have it. Could you imagine what it's like being, like, I don't know, like the son of of a hedge fund banker, or you grow up and you have everything material you could ask for, and you kind of like, it's very different if you don't. Obviously, if you have someone who's very wealthy, they will probably send their kids away to places with no money to actually make it without money as a test. I would agree with that kind of thing. Kenny Jones, what's happening with the Hardy book? I'm dying to read. Yeah, I'm gonna try and get that up on the Patreon page before the end of the week if I can get time. It's just time and mental, literally focus. It's just so much going on here at the moment, and I try and do as much as I can. And if any of you are feeling like throwing an old tip, throw one in, lads. Like don't mind how much. I'm not panhandling, but thinking it's a nice way to. It justifies my time spent on the net because there has been complaints about what I'm doing. I'm like, yeah, this is what I do, man. But I can't quite say it's a job yet. But I'm working towards it. Gash in the paw. But I played football with Salmon versus the local dealer and two black lads. Where was this? Salmon versus the local dealer. Fair play, man. Be epic. I'll get that up. The biggest crime in Irish education system is the Irish language curriculum for both primary and secondary school. 14 years of learning language, and most people can't hold a conversation. John, that's a very good point, actually. I remember when I moved back, one thing I was looking forward to doing was learning Irish, and there was no concessions made. But I mean, I think the school is a lot better than it was back in the day. I mean, my school kind of resembled a 1950s Alabama high school. I was just like, what's going on here? But yeah. But I think what Ireland should have done is Ireland should have made the Irish language mandatory, where everything is Irish, like in Wales, where people took back the Irish language fully, and when people come and visit, they may like they're encouraged to say things like Dies Miragwichin, and Sloan Awardia, that kind of thing. Is reasonable to assume that some members of the Hardy Books crew don't want a new series. Well, you know what? Yeah, it would be reasonable to assume that. And if they don't, well, fair enough. Thank you very much for that, Shawnee, mate. Appreciate that. You're a good lad. The old windy city of Chicago. Yeah, it is a shame Latin Dorm and skin. But let me see what other comments have I missed out on here. Liam Gallagher once said he can't give out to his kids because he hasn't a leg to stand on. Do you think he will struggle? Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a good approach as well. I mean, I've seen kids who have been raised, or people who've been raised by parents who are a bit mad, and they've seen it and they're like, well, there's no. I think the thing is, if you have the mindset where you forbid something, the allure of entering those kind of things becomes appealing. If you put things off limits, the first thing a young mind will do is rebel. That's basically that's what you do as a young person. You test the limits of your boundaries, and often you'll do that with parents. Like I had a big argument with my daughter today, and I was just like, she wanted a friend to have a sleepover, and I was like, I've got stuff to do. I've got a podcast to do, and I wanted to get the live stream done. She was just giving out, and then I'm like, how do I handle this? Thanks very much for the chat. Who is this now? Carl Brennan. How are you, Carl? Thank you very much, mate. I'm doing good, thanks, mate. You're over in England, yeah? But it's true, ugly people make good-looking children. Don't know about that. Cheers for that lamb, lad. Wallasey's finest, Graham Russell, mate. Hang on, where are you from? Where am I? You see, the thing is, Connor, I'm from all over the place. My parents are both from Mayo. I was born near Liverpool in Wallasey, and I moved to Ireland when I was 12. My 13th birthday, I got a new school bag, and because my school bag in England had like Tipex pen pictures of spliffs on it. I mean, this was the culture. Like, you could see where it was going for me. Hash leaves and spliffs, and I never even smoked LFC, and so I had to get a new bag because it was just fucking mental. And Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, man, like I came from my parents split up when I was 9, and for me that was one of the hardest things I went through was a secure unit that we had that was suddenly split, and unfortunately, my own children are going to be living in a house. Thanks, Christian. But my own children are you know are going to go through that. But the thing is, I I'm gonna make sure that I'm always around there. I'm gonna get on well with the mother. We still have a great relationship. We still tell each other we love each other. Um, and the best thing I can do is be the best parent I can be. And and these are things that people might think, okay, this is very personal to be talking about this kind of thing, but that's who I am, and what you see is what you get, and I do wear my heart on my sleeve, and I am an open book. And you know, I do remember Pogs, Mike. Yeah, Pogs. They were good crack back in '95, and then some cheap shops started making these metal Pogs that were like a little Death Star, but you'd wreck the Pogs because people were slamming them too hard. Alan Derdis, did you and Chris become mates because you're both lads from the mainland? Yeah, I suppose that was. I mean, it probably was a big aspect of it as well. Also, his mum comes from Liverpool, so he was funny as well. There was it was definitely the humor. Like when I was growing up in Wallasey, there was a lot of lads I was in school with, and like even in terms of adult orientated comedy, it was very witty for kids. Like 11 and 12 year olds. So yeah, so we should. I remember Chris told me a story when he was in school and they had an assembly. And there was a kid in school called Danny McBride, and they had this thing where they had to get up in front of the school and tell jokes. And apparently, he goes up and he goes, How'd you make a snooker table laugh?" And he said it in front of the principal or the headmaster, and he goes, "I don't know. How do you make a snooker table laugh? Tickle its balls." So yeah, he got carted off. 1995. I was even thought up at that stage. 95, man. That was a good time. Chris is hilarious, man. I miss having the crack with Chris, but I haven't even Slammers. That was the one. Fair play to you, Louis. Slammers. But I don't know, man. Like he can reach out to me. I'm like when he's ready. But I'm just gonna paddle my own canoe at this stage. 86, year the gods were born. Divorces don't always break the home, man. No, some people are fucking better off, man. We get on a lot better than we do. Of course, of course, we're gonna have the odd fucking disagreement, but towards the end, there was just a lot of arguing, and it was just the same shit all the time. I found it quite frustrating that I was living in a country where my career wasn't. And I'd look at everyone else kind of they're working away over in Ireland, and I'd be trying to keep that going from being over here. And the acting game as well, the entertainment world, man, they don't call it show business for nothing. It's a business, and it's hard going. It's a difficult industry. You have like ups and downs and the creamy bit in the middle. But was my accent thicker? But yeah, it probably was. Talk like that when I first came over, and I'd say like thing and 30, 33. So I was like, but, yeah. And then when we were over in Wallasey, we tried to be all hard by talking like we were from Liverpool, even though we weren't, because we were across the Mersey. But as a crow flies, it was only about fucking 2 or 3 kilometers away from Liverpool, really. Like, do you know what I mean? But where I came from was, nice little place. Wallasey was grand. The Scousers used to say it was the posh bit, but it was nice. But it's kind of downhill lately. Like there's a lot of the business has gone out of the place. Some bits of it are getting a bit rough. But I don't know. I haven't been there for years. But I had a little look around Google Maps, just have a look. Do you see the reverse particles of an alternate dimension where time runs backwards that are in Antarctica? Well, I can't say I have, Ryan, but shit just feels weird lately. I think. Like look at this. Like this is a fine example of how technology is bringing people together around the world in a community. Like there's rarely I see any beef with each other in the comment section. It's a nice little crew, and I like the fact that you take your time out to come here and hang out, and it's nice to know that I've facilitated. I'm the main guy talking, but I like the way you guys are, talking in the comment section and whatnot. And um, this is a good example of technology, but the surveillance, don't like that. It's too much power to have in the hands of a few people, and it's worrisome. Hardy Books changed my life for the better. Thanks very much. Um, I'll tell you something very funny back in the day when it was started off. I can't remember who it was, but some lad got onto me on, it was on Facebook. I used to have an Eddie Durkin Facebook page, which I don't know. I got I forgot the password, and I couldn't get back into it, unfortunately. But there was some great stuff up on that. But there was one lad who got onto me. He goes, "Oh man, I fucking love the Hardy Books so much. You have no idea. Like, my mother banned me from saying dollars or pounds at the dinner table." America will be at war with China within 10 years. Well, I mean, it's funny because if you look at 1984, right, the book or the film, it was Oceania versus, was it Asiata or something? I can't remember the name of it, but it was basically the same crack, man. It was just, and England was just landing strip one or something. I probably butchered that, but I've only seen the film once. Never bothered reading the book. And your Bebo, yeah, the Bebo page, man. I think it was Buttman Forever was the name of my Bebo job. America will be in war 10 minutes. When are they not in war, man? Yeah, Hardy Books has been a big part of our lives and our friends. Oh man, it's nice to know. I mean, it really is. Like I forget about it when I'm over here in Sweden. I'm just like a average dude knocking about, pushing a fucking buggy around. Uh, yeah, I met you once in Dublin. Now I think of it, it was a lookalike accent. Eddie Durkin's creamy little fan page. Yeah, I haven't really been on that much. I get a bit annoyed with Facebook, man. It's just really difficult to use it as like they've overextended, and they've kind of, again. Do you really need to give all your fucking private information on to third party, Silicon Valley tech giants? We haven't a fucking clue what the crack is there. Um, Pure grew up on the Hardy Books quotes the Holy Buddha, my man, and that's nice to know. Not lushed, pre-sober. Don't know what that means. Sorry about the showing, I missed that. Bebo Jobby, Bebo, it's all on Bieber. Killian, thank you very much, mate. Well, I feel a bit guilty that I've gotten so much enjoyment from your content and never paid a penny. Get yourself a pint or something. Thank you very much, Killian. The money that I get from these super chats will definitely go towards investing in better gear. So once I get my own gaff, man, I'm gonna get proper green screen setup and a PC that can just handle anything. So I can just throw some cool effects in. But thank you very much. Or it'll go on a lot of pints. Who knows? But I do appreciate every as Tesco would say, every little helps. Get on TikTok, Martin. Loads of shites, but cash to be made. How do you make cash on TikTok, man? I'd be interested in checking that out. Lasers cut the old huge buildings of the old world order. Seen something interesting about that. Are you talking about torture? I've seen something about how all of the these old ruins that are found, that you can still see the base of like old granite columns. There's something interesting about like Japan. Apparently, there was buildings in Japan that looked like they were Romanesque. I haven't really looked into it, but nothing new under the sun. Just replace players. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. In fairness to you, there is nothing new under the sun. I mean, I remember watching a film years ago called The Objective, which was the same director, I think, who did the Blair Witch Project. There was a story about this. Ray Fiennes was in it as well. The story was an American special forces team going to Afghanistan to go after this thing called the Vimana. It was kind of like tied into like what the fuck are they called? Pre-Sanskrit. They reckon that there was technology in the old days. Who knows, man? What's your drink of choice? Anything decent, man. Anything decent. Do you send another tenner for the pint? He's still in Sweden, for fuck's sake. You may send another. Oh yeah, fair enough. The old. Oh no, that'll do. I know a couple of Kennings. Hey, everything's appreciated, lads. The thumbs up, the sharing, the telling your mates. Subscribe if any of you hasn't subscribed. Please subscribe. For some reason, I just can't seem to grow this page, even though I'm quite busy on it and quite active these days. It's still kind of staggering. I'm wondering, like I had 800 subscribers taken off me in one night. So I don't know what the crack is there. But sometimes I'm thinking I'm being a bit. Derek Kennedy, thank you very much. I missed your last gig in Galway. Will you do more? Man, I can't wait to get back out and start gigging. In some ways, it's nice that this is nice just to kind of have a bond up with the fans and and become friends with you guys and get to know you guys. And I like this. It's nice, but it'll be nice to get on the road and meet you in person and have the crack. Sumerian boys. Derek and pressing kegs was Hardy Buck's top 5 moment. Fucking cunts! I remember we tried to slip that in to the first series of Hardy Bucks to tell Graham, mate, thanks very much. Go round with a shotty and some Buck Martin. Nice one there, Graham, lad. You're very kind to me. Fucking Zuckerman and the lads don't want to see you make it. No, they don't. Player haters need the algorithm to shine its light on you. Yeah, I just don't get it, man. Myself and Joe Rickenbach will have the mad gaffer if you come to Galway. Yeah, Galway's good crack, man. The gig I did in Crane was brilliant crack. It's just during a comedy festival. Everyone was up for it, like, and it was a good laugh. And that's the kind of venue nice and quiet with a couple of drinks before and after. But brilliant fun, man. I'd love to play the Crane again. Gigs up north, done a few. Yeah, Limelight, the Oh Yeah Centre as well. I haven't done Derry yet. I'd like to do Derry. That'd be good crack. Did you do a commentary on the movie that time? I did. Yeah, there should be a commentary on the extras on the DVD. You need to get to Offaly. Fucking Tullamore, man. The Tesco's so big you can see it from fucking space. Is Phil Mitchell one of your idols? Oi, Phil Mitchell. You see Bilo not around down the arches? I loved it when Phil Mitchell started going out with a woman who looks like a seagull who was in Bad Girls. Good lad Derry. Would you do a gig in Donegal? Man, I'd do a fucking gig anywhere, man. I did a gig a couple of years ago in a place called Gary Spillane, which was a bit mad. Steve O'Timney was supporting me, fair play to him. Farrah Michael. But they kept trying to get more people into it towards the end of the night. People were getting too pissed. The sweet spot for a gig is about 8:30 at the weekend. Ross Kemp done Afghan with us all in 08. So tell me this. You're the Norris Green crew. What would happen if the Crockstiff boys came round? Oh, fucking, they got dealt with, won't he? He's a good old lad. He is, man. Hardy Boys, Trailer Park Boys, crossover potential. Yeah, I've been talking to. I must give your man who plays Bubbles a shout. Just keep in touch with him and see if there was any. But who the fuck knows what's going to happen, man? You know what I mean? It's I don't know what the story is with all this shit. Like, I mean, when is things going to get back to normal? Will they ever get back to normal? I mean, it's pretty hard to fucking let this. It's almost like you've lent someone a PlayStation. They've had it for about 6 months, and then they're like, "Oh, I don't want to get the PlayStation back, man." Do you know what I mean? It's going to be difficult for the powers that be to give back. It's like if you look at 9/11 after that shit, man. You go through an airport and it became was some bullshit about someone who allegedly tried to blow up a plane with a bottle of liquid. So that it's just more jumping through hoops and bollocks, man. And the old saying goes, if you sacrifice freedom for security, you deserve neither. And that's the thing, man. You know, it's like people take their own risks and live in freedom. Can you go for a pint in Sweden? You can, thank God, trot and choke, or you can't eat hardy books, strains, dispensaries, hash yogurt on tap. Ooh. Thoughts on County Clare? Yeah, great spot, nice place, good people. Yeah, never had any bother with Clare. Good guys, man. Good guys. Great surf. You know, myself and Luderdon and Conether went down there and did some great surfing in Lahinch. And Kamalia, he was down there as well. Great guy, great times. And Madug, how are you, Denise, man? Give me a nice little virtual motorboat there. Fair play to you. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Bar the Workman's, is there any other venue you're playing? Oh, yeah, man, fucking anywhere, really. Anywhere. I wouldn't have been doing fucking well with the gigs. Ooh, Holly Buddha, thank you very much, mate. You're gonna be on the Awfully Irish podcast. Oh, yeah, I'll come on. Just give me a time, and I'll it's just trying to get. I'll buzz onto you. I'll give you the touch. County Clare, I might buy it someday. Yeah, you know what? I bought a beautiful, terrific golf resort. It was on its last legs. It was really struggling. It was, I came along and these people they had nobody to take care of themselves, and I had terrific meetings with these guys. I worked with all these guys, construction guys. I worked with them all. I know them all, and the Dune Beg is a great course. I actually initially wanted to change it to the Mighty Trump Dunes course, but the locals didn't want that as part of the stipulation of the contract that they couldn't change the name to that. But what can I say about Dune Beg's beautiful golf course? Great people. The Irish have been nothing but good to me. I know a lot of Irish. I worked tremendous people, beautiful, great spirit, great working people. Worked with a lot of the Irish indeed. Yes, and I did actually open up a golf course in Scotland, and I named it after my grandmother, who was obviously, as you all know, she was from Scotland, and I call it the Great Dunes of Scotland. And I like the idea of the dunes of the beach, and think about my great grandmother, and she would have washed the skillet, made soda bread by the hearth of the fire, and how things have changed. And I got like myself, I got a small loan of $1 million from my father and started a company. So, thank you very much. It was beautiful, tremendous, my pleasure. I love it when he speaks like this. When he's talking at the podium, he knows exactly how to work the crowd. But he's a funny bastard, though. He's just like just to observe the whole spectacle of American politics. Is a funny fucker. Trump is German originally. The name Trump comes from the German. Is Trump really name? Yeah. And the thing is, you can imagine, it's like, we better call ourselves Trump. Like the Trump card, it's the best. It's the ace of the hole. It's the Trump card. As casinos, I'm a casino magnate. What can I say? I worked with the natives, great people. The natives, great work with them. A lot of casino owners work with them. Great people. A lot of great testament to the indigenous population of the states. But I have to say the Guatemalan people, like my friend Sean, I work with Sean in Chicago. I got a Trump Tower in Chicago. Took a small loan from George Soros back in the day. But yeah, the Guatemalan people, great people. What can I say? They're fantastic, great family communities, and absolutely fantastic. Like the Cuban people, beautiful people. I didn't like what they did there with the Castro. And Castro, he was a bad dude. I didn't really like him so much. I didn't really like their policies. Tried to open a hotel there in Havana one day. They flat out rejected it, so didn't have that. But guys from County Clare, yeah, Clare is a great place, beautiful place. Trump steaks, steaks, yeah, the steaks are actually Chinese meat made in China, and beautiful stuff. The Chinese. I've worked with a lot of the great people, beautiful people, great work ethic. What they're doing now in Africa, they're taking the resources, put their own manpower in there. To what they're doing in the South China Sea with Taiwan. We'll be having talks. Be sending a couple of F-22 Raptors and some F-16s. They'll be going down. A beautiful technology. Lockheed Martin, beautiful stuff. Great stocks. So I'll give it a. I'll give it a. This guy's a comedian's wet dream. Bush was very funny as well. Where it's like, how'd he go? Bush, he used to talk like this. He was like, there was an old saying down in how'd he go? There's an old saying down in Texas, Louisiana was you fooled me once, shame on you. I used to be a lot better at doing Bush. I haven't done him for a long time. But there's a great clip of George Bush Jr. at a party where he's fucking smashed, man, and he goes, oh, great marathon runner, great athlete, great man. Only in America could that man find a job. Oh yeah, it's very good, very slim woman, very athletic, and only in America could you call her mom. I'd say fucking George Bush was just an absolute party machine, man. I'd say there was a lot of fucking schnochter being done there. What's Sweden like with their COVID approach? The world media is baffled. Pound for pound, it's pretty much the same mortality rate as Ireland, part per million, and you can still enjoy going to the theater. You can have pints. You can go to restaurants, fast food outlets, hardware stores, clothing stores, sports stores. You can stand in line. They love standing in line over here, and things are normal, but not normal. But it's not what. Apparently, I was talking to Andy Wallace on the podcast about Greece. He said Greece just had a complete fucking. They're heavy-handed down there. The old the constabulary of Grecia. So he was coked until he was told he was governor. What? Endless amounts of cinema and documentaries are going to come out of this Trump era. Yeah, I mean, to be quite honest with you, I was glad Clinton didn't win. I was glad about that, but at the same time, I was like, oh fuck, here we go. This is gonna be like it's kind of like Aliens versus Predator, man. There was no real. That was the best. Like the whole fucking political system of America is farcical, man. It's just a mess. I don't even know what's going to change it at this stage. Like, you know what I mean? It's no point of even thinking about it. He dodged the Vietnam draft. He gets my vote. Fair enough. Who else? There was someone else who dodged the draft as well. And said they were a war hero, but they weren't. Chuck Norris choked out the Rona. Yeah, someone sent me a link saying Chuck Norris had died. I was like, what? I was like, and then you believe he's actually so hard he could actually just smash it, but no, I don't think he did. He's still alive. Didn't say anything about it on Wikipedia because usually like a minute after it's announced, it's up on Wikipedia. A lot of Bernie's people are siding with Trump. What's the alternative, man? Creepy Joe. That's the hypocrisy about all this believe all women, right? This Joe Biden thing with I can't remember the name of the. Can someone tell me the name of the woman who alleges that she was abused by him? Cracking looking woman in the 80s for a place, but where's everyone now? You know what I mean? Like that shit with Tara Reid. That's right, yeah. Not the one from American Pie 2. But the thing is, it's like, yeah, where's if that was like the time with Justice Kavanaugh, that time they fucking made his life. The poor bastard was crying. You know what I mean? And like you can imagine, like I mean, take away whatever affiliation for any party he had, but just look at him as being a man with children who, they fucking ruined him. And now Joe Biden is just. It's like don't believe a word. No one believe. It's just turn a blind eye to it, and it's just like. So it goes to show all these like moralistic movements, BuzzFeed, and all these fucking rags. They're full of shit, man. They're completely biased, and I think the interesting thing is there is no rule of law nowadays politically. It's the rule of law is no one is ever held accountable for what they do. But it's a rule for me and not for thee, and that's the things got to change, man. The things got to change. What beer am I drinking? I'm drinking a Copperberg's apple cider, dry cider. It's not bad, old shite. It's not bad. Fun fact: YouTube won't let you type. Interesting. It's a GodTube woman. Looking like an Irish extra in Goodwill Hunting. Yeah, what about them apples, right? Mersey Rail, got the shave way there, Graham. Lord. Any regrets about not telling everyone to fuck off on the Celebrity Apprentice for getting the blame for the spelling mistake? Oh, mate, I'm so glad you brought that up. Yeah, I was. Do you know what? Like, at first it was quite exciting that you picked up in all these fancy cars. You dropped the whole thing was a setup. Like I was the only one on that day who looked at the window in the front of the shop, and I was like, right, we need to dress the shop window, and everyone was like, no, we haven't got time for that. I can't even remember what the spelling mistake was, but if you can refresh my memory. But when I was being fired, because I thought to myself, I was like, all right, I'll try and go 1 or 2 episodes in it, but I was thoroughly fucking relieved that that I got out of there when I did, because they were doing. There was an awful lot of fucking psychological manipulation, keeping you hungry, just fucking people crying and everything on it, like, and I was like. I thought it was going to be great crack. I thought it was going to be a laugh. I didn't realize there was going to be so many like serious moral tones to it. You know what I mean? And it's kind of, they wanted us to use our connections outside of the show to boost their production value. And I was like, nah, man, these are connections that I've made through my own hard work, and I'm not exploiting them for the sake of ratings. And it's that's just fucking me being word, man. I tried finding it on YouTube, couldn't find it anywhere. Show the Painting Lad. Yeah, that was it's a wolf. Come on. Got red eyes. Haircut. It's the ex's uncle passed away about 10 years ago. Where's the Mayo accent gone? You mean this one, is it? It comes and goes, man. It's selective. It comes and goes. You know yourself. When you won The Apprentice, I was back 2000 and... Fuck, was it, man? 2013? You should go dancing with the... No, I said after that, never again will I do reality TV. Never again. Looks like a Goodfellas beating. She's this generation's Juanita Broderick. Who's Juanita Broderick again? Sorry. Stevie Coughlin, how are you doing, lad? Tell RTE to start Republic of Telly up again. I haven't seen this normal people thing yet, but everyone's so normal people. Cool, normal people. It's where we get like actors from Dublin pretending from Mayo. But then when actually someone from Mayo starts a show from Mayo, all of the industry, like, cool. All these twee like established fucking Dublin gatekeepers don't want to know about us because we're too real and too reckless. What made you move to Ireland? I had no choice in it. My mum was just like, things were getting a bit rough in England, and she was like, well, move it back to Ireland. A place that was equally as rough, if not more fucking mad. All the D4 crowd love it. Ross, like, it's amazing, because it's probably written by someone that came from D4. It's like the what's that fucking Derry Girls as well. Okay, it's cool. I watched an episode or 2, man. I just couldn't get into it. Do you know what I mean? Just couldn't get into it. I think there's like, it's not my scene, man. Do you know what I mean? I'm not knocking. Fair play to them, and respect for them for having such worldwide acclaim. But it's not my ball game, man. Do you know what I mean? Derry Girls is a pack of bollocks. Who's the dude Owen has the podcast with? Fucking knows, man. Owen, if Owen had any fucking brain, he would. I don't mean it like that, but if Owen had hopped in and done the Hardy Books podcast with me, it'd be the number 1 podcast in Ireland. But Owen had his own ideas, and unfortunately, it could have. I've done what I can myself, but I didn't mean to say Owen doesn't have a brain. Obviously, Collie's fucking doing his own. I think he just Owen wants to do his own thing, man. Do you know what I mean? It's more advantageous. He has more autonomy over himself, and I think he probably felt in a lot of ways over the years he was in the shadow of myself and Chris, even though he was like one of the main guys. And I think he probably wanted to prove that he could do it himself. And all credit to Owen, he has. You know what I mean? He's who was on Normal People? Jer. Who's Jer? Have you seen any Vipers live streams? Fairly funny now. I don't bother watching it anymore, man. It just fucking pisses me off that we could be fucking doing another series or working together to bring our mutual talents together. But you know, it just every time I see that, I look at like wasted opportunities to come together as and give the fans what they want to see. So that's my opinion. It's not a personal gripe, but it's more so like you have a whole load of people there who would love to get back in on the saddle. And like I've always like myself personally always had a deep respect for the fans, always made time for the fans, and I do it for the fans. You know, it's a very loyal fan base for most part. So Chris won't answer one question. So as to why he won't either. Podcast is weak sauce. Which one's that? Sorry, my podcast or what's the other podcast? Spiders. Any chance of you appearing on McGahon's new show? Yeah, McGahon's new show. I mean, I was looking at it. I was like, it's an RT player production, which is just like, who are the guests? Other RT people. Do you know what I mean? It's like, if you asked me to, I'd come on. But you know what I'm like? I'd end up shooting the fucking mouth off. But no, fair play to him. He's it's like it's just like it's RTE guests, man. Like I find that. You know what? To be quite honest with you, I'm happy enough just to do this the way I'm doing it myself. The good thing about this, I can be myself. I can talk about my own thing. Don't need to be censored. Don't need to watch what I like this. This was the beauty of YouTube from day one. And I know Chris hides his live streams to encourage people to keep coming back. I'll leave mine up, man. Let people see it. And I'm at first I was very apprehensive about it. I was like, oh, you know, this was a stage I wanted to get to be able to be comfortable in making content and putting videos up there. And I think real recognizes real at the end of the day. And sure, I might give too much information away. Maybe I'm pissing people off by giving information about the nature of relationships with people I work with, but fuck it, man. It's the same reason why people like Liam Gallagher, because what you see is what you get. Do you know what I mean? Chris won't answer. Chris don't answer fans. Owen's podcast is wasted talent. So yeah, look, Ryan. Like I've said to Owen, if he wants to join me and get back on it, but Owen is probably one of the most stubborn people I've ever known in life. You could be telling him till you're blue in the face that you've got a good idea, but once he gets something in his head, he doesn't go along with it. He just, you know, you could be saying to him, look, if we do this, it's. You know, I tried to pitch a world tour. Hardy Books and he left not long after we did Vicar Street, and I'm not. This isn't me giving out about Owen. It's just basically these are missed opportunities, and fairness, like he's done well for himself. At the end of the day, look, what am I supposed to do? I've got children here in Sweden. I can't leave. I don't have any crew here. Fucking most of the Swedes I know who are involved in media, fucking waste of time, man. You know, it's very difficult to get anything going here. But this, for me, I'll be honest with you, man. It's small scale stuff, but it scratches that itch, and it keeps me engaged with the audience, and it keeps the blade sharp, keeps the rust off, and I'll keep it going, lads. You know what I mean? And ladies, I'll keep it going if I stick with it. My only problem is consistency. fucking inconsistent, and that's ADHD, man. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do this. Well, like if I do a live stream once a week, I know a lot of people get bored of seeing me playing Resident Evil. Some people enjoy it, man. It's like, think of it as just like kicking back and chilling out with your mates. But Big Les, Kevin McGahan was telling me about Big Les actually. 9 bar needed ASAP. Get the boys back. Opinions on McGregor. I think McGregor fucking went. You know, fair play to him. He came from a lower middle class family, and from Lucan. He stuck to McGregor stuck to what he wanted, but like the rest of anyone else who makes it big, there's a phase where you lose the run of yourself because you're surrounded by fucking glitz and glamour and yes men, and you're propped up on a pedestal and you've got people blowing smoke up your ass. But I like McGregor's recent conduct. You know, I think McGregor lost a lot of support in Ireland for various things he'd said and done, and at the end of the day, no one knows what it's like to be that fucking. There's no going back from McGregor now. You know what I mean? In terms of what he's created, and again, he's fucking learning from mistakes, and we all make mistakes, and we all do stupid shit. And I like the way he conducted himself with Cowboy Cerrone. He was humble in victory, and you know, I think he's funny, man. You know, like the thing is, some people are just fucking they're headers. You know, they do crazy shit. I mean, I've done fucking mad shit for years since I was a kid. Some people, that's what kind of makes us. That's what draws people to us is the fact that we're not fucking ordinary people. We take risks and sometimes the risks pay off. Sometimes we fucking faceplant and you do it. And the higher you get, like I mean, McGregor's tasted defeat a few times now. He went up, you know, and he was probably the fight before Khabib, man. He was fucking on the piss and on the fucking entering the Schnoctagon and partying like fuck. I met a cab driver who picked him up and said he was fucking after. Look, if he gets back, look, McGregor, I'm not talking fucking shit about you, man. I'm just saying, like, it's just what I heard, man. You were fucking puking up in a record studio about 6 weeks before you go and fighting one of the best fucking submission wrestlers in mixed martial arts. And I'm like, fair play, man. I would have been doing the same shit myself. Bronson is scary. But I don't know. Look, I have no fucking clue. But Ross Ladd said McGregor is pure scum in your opinion. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, he's now in the public eye. He's there's fucking accusations. I like who you know, if he can learn from you know, I think the best thing for McGregor is to fucking cut the dead weight loose, focus on the family as best he can. You know, he's made a fortune, but I you know, I like the humility that he has lately. So yeah. Would you do comedy in Ireland after COVID? Yeah, of course I would, man. Of course I would. Seen any bare knuckle getting really big now? Yeah, I remember years ago I watched this thing called Rio Heroes, which is just about fucking like nutters from the streets of Rio, just like clobbering each other in a ring. The Travellers have been fairly keeping that tradition going for a good while. Fair play to them. Celtic or Gerrard, man? Fucking Celtic. It was a tough one. I like what you did because he meant Gerrard as in like Gerrard with Liverpool, but nah, fucking yeah, Celtic. Saying that I'm not really that active in the Scottish League. You know what I mean? I'd like to see them. You know, I like to see them win, but I'm not too involved. I'm pretty much just more about Premier League and Champions League and a bit of GAA. You know, cut the Crumlin lads out of his life. He'll be grand. Yeah, you know what? Like just fucking focus on his kids and his family, and you know, just take it easy. Corona can't keep us down. It shouldn't keep us down either. Remember that saying, ships are safest in harbour, but it's not what they're built for. Nothing beats a knockdown in the ball alley. Watched that knuckle flick about gypsies. Yeah, it was interesting. Any opinion on Daniel Kinnan and Enda Kenny conspiracy? I haven't heard that. Don't know what that's about. Sounds dodgy. Have you been writing Hardy book? The stories on the Patreon were great. Yeah, I have actually. I'm gonna try and get that up tomorrow. I'm gonna try and get a. I'm trying to get a podcast and that up tomorrow. Ah, fucking Jade, love. Thank you very much. It's very kind of you. Patrick's Athletic. Am I like yeah? St. Pat's. That's look at my eyes, man. Your fucking eyes, man. I used to always love doing daft faces when I was young. I don't really do it anymore. One of my textbook dafts like this. Oh man, fucking. I'll think of some later on. I just don't know. I don't know. Why? I don't know. I don't talk shit. Fucking American. You know what I mean? Like, fucking Hollywood. Fuck shit up, no, I know, quick one, I call it on, she's fucking tongue, I know, fucking ginger con. Is there any way we can get an autograph? I guess so, yeah. I don't know if you can just get onto me on Twitter, man, and give me details. Fucking, yeah, he's a fucking Irish fucker, man. I remember, I won't mention his name, but a friend of mine back in the day in Galway went into his gaff and he was hard on the chats from the Friday night all through to the Saturday and continued on. But when we got there on Saturday, he was sitting on the couch and he was so out of his head, the eyes were rolling in his head. My ex-girlfriend, the Swedish girl, she was there and he was like this. She was trying to like keep it. Oh, fucking cool, see, man, how's it going? Class, man, yeah. That's not a bad old day, you know. And my ex-girlfriend goes, fuck it. Look at his face. He's fucked. But, I love it when lads on chats are trying to keep it together. I think there was something on like Border Patrol or Bondi Beach, and there was a load of cops on the beach in Australia, or a few cops had come across this lad. I think he was Irish, and he was on Bondi Beach on pills, and he was like like this, rolling around on the floor. And then they go, "Are you all right?" I go, "Oh, grand, man. Yeah, sound. Yeah, just heading home." Like, but the way like you see people are on chats, they could just like snap out of this weird fucking. I've seen it myself at fucking house parties. Where are we now? Where are we now? Maloney's a legend. Thank you, Rang Dipkin. Fair play to you. Appreciate that. Nice to hear every now and again. I don't fucking hear it much in Sweden. Each COVID victim gets hospital 35 per patient. Go figure. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's 13 per person, and everyone who's intubated. Some hospitals get 34, 36,000. Trump's wife is a Russian plant spy. I doubt that, to be honest. She's not a bad looking bird, though, fairness to her. FHM job. Is there any way we can get? I've asked that. I love 3 Books Left, lads, but that page on Instagram is just kind of sad. Yeah, I mean, they're trying, man. You know what I mean? And they're good lads. What I like about what they've done is their live shows they're like a kind of they've got a nice little crew, and it's always good crack. They've got their own little variety show. They've got music, they've got comedy, and you know it's their live stuff is a good laugh, and they're I mean, because you got to look at those guys, man. Like they see Owen and they see Chris, and that they're gone. And I know they were doing a bit of support for Owen. I don't live in the country anymore. I'm trying to. I was in Vikings and whatnot, and they were sick of waiting around, so they started their own thing, and I don't blame them, and I hats off to them, But they're doing their best, man. So you can't really knock it. Like some things misfire, but some things are great. But the good thing is they're doing it off their own back, and eventually they'll get to a place where they've made some great content. So it's hit and miss, man. Especially the thing is Stevie as well. He's a workhorse. He's got a great work ethic. So he's applying his knowledge of contracting to comedy, and he's they're doing their thing. And if you're putting out content that frequently, like I won't put content out or put pictures up for the sake of keeping things busy. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, just don't feel the need to. I feel like if it's a week or two before putting anything up, so be it, man. Like even today, before I was reluctant to do this stream tonight. I was like, oh, maybe it'd do me good just to go to bed. But I was like, what am I going to talk about? But it's nice to have a little. It's nice when the chat gets rolling. Like to be quite honest with you, a year ago, I never ever would have thought I'd be able to get to this stage where I could speak so comfortably in front of an audience. Borek O'Driscoll, the next podcast is with Andy Wallace, who played Pete Doherty in the Oxygen episode. He's a good mate of mine. And he was a guy we met in London at a gig in 2012, and he's just been mates with us since. So like, you know, we're fucking sound lads. Let me see. My dog got run over by a truck, but the vet said it was COVID-19. Yes, fucking sorry to hear that. It's the end of Kenny Kinahan feud. I've got to check this out, man. Is that why he grew the beard? I fucking check that out, man. No, I tell you, no, you're feuding and you've got hitmen and you're gang war. No, I tell you, I cannot stop Dublin feud. But when is this? Is there anything new that's come up? Yeah, there's been nothing new about that recently. I haven't seen anything new come up about that. Anyone talking shit about Chris Rowan can fuck off. Who's the next? Which Hardy book are you closest with these days? You know, I'd be close to more, but you know, the thing is, like when I go back to Ireland, it's you hang out with them again, but it's just I suppose everyone's busy. Like I should pick up the phone more often. I suppose, in fairness, the boot is the best one for keeping in touch. He'll. I had a really good chat with him yesterday, and at the end, of it, I was like, Tom, the older you get, you're like a fine wine, man. You're getting better with age, and it was really nice to catch up with him. But yeah, you know how it is. The weird thing is about modern day technology; it's pretty much free to call people, but because it's free, it's almost like it's overinflated, or it's lost its value. When you have to pay for it, you're like, oh, I'm gonna have to fucking spend a good €5 on this call. No, boy. So I addressed the Spotify thing earlier on, Porrick. To be quite honest with you, I think it's an absurd amount of money. I mean, the dude must be nearly a fucking billionaire at this stage. Like, how's Salmon doing? I don't hear much from him. I mean, I should get Salmon on the podcast as well. It's just about getting it organized. And why did you leave the podcast with Lexa so long? That was because of a family thing, and shouldn't even bring that up. But it's so good that the guy has a fucking amazing story to tell. We won't say it. Regency on YouTube, like look it up. Scarcity Studios. Find Sid. What's this, lads? I don't get this, but 40K for a 300 quid lab. Search Regency on YouTube. Tom Cruise is going to space. Fair play, man. He's fucking. What was the name of that film he did? The Edge of Tomorrow. He's fucking Edge of Tomorrow, man. He's gonna respawn. Have you seen Nidge's wedding in Love Hate? Gastuff, man. No, I haven't seen Love Hate, man. And the Kenny can feud. Search Regency on YouTube. Yeah, I'll have a little. I'll have a little look at this. See what comes up. The Regency Hotel. Oh, what's this? Is it like is this like a drama or what? Scarcity Studios. It was on my birthday, 2016. Clash of the Clans. Well, I'll check that out later on. I'll give you my my opinion on it in the next stream. Tom Cruise is going from space. He's going home. He's fucking gonna get Xeno in a headlock, man. Wine of choice. Ooh, interesting one. I'm not really that big on wines, but I suppose probably red wine. If I I quite like prosecco or cava or champagne if it's going. Cool to get Chris on the podcast. I haven't actually seen it. Yeah, I doubt he'd come out of. I think he's basically at the. It would do him good to get the fuck out of character, man, because he's a very funny guy, and he's basically. I've broke the fourth wall now at this stage. I'm happy to be out of character. To be quite honest, I feel like it's liberating, and man, I would love to have him on, and please spam his fucking chat next time. Say, go on the fucking podcast. But Xeno's after you. Have you ever seen a fella called Shaky Boy 69? If not, look him up. Must check that out. Not a word of bumming in 120 minutes. No, I've done good, man. I've done good. Just the threat of punishment bummings. But government behind dams flooding in central Michigan. You be the judge. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I'll get Sean to send me on the Patreon, and any of you guys who are on Patreons, £5 a month, man, become a Patreon and then hang out with us in the Discord because it's cozy old shit in there. There's no bumming or anything in there, but there's threats of it. I'm scared of Xeno. Xeno lives under a fucking volcano on the edge of space, man. And I mean, what was the fucking crack with Scientology? There was some. Wasn't it like they had some jets, right? Because the technology that was implied were basically 1960s technology that they just bombed the shit out of a planet with space jets, and then like some thetans escaped and went into people's bodies. Oh fuck! I don't know what the crack. And then there's like a bad cunt who lives under a volcano on the edge of space. He's got the eye on us, yeah, exactly, man. He's got his eye on us. Purple Aki outside. Shows your muscles, lad. Clearwater, Florida is the headquarters. Is that the whole, was it Dave Miscavige as well? I remember there was a scene of Tom Cruise years ago, and he was getting the award. It was like the Medal of Valor, and they just it was like hypnotically just played that riff from the Limp Bizkit Mission Impossible soundtrack. So it's just that was just that same. It was like, so it said to me like, you're a level 71215, and I was like, yeah, I never knew you guys exist. He's like, yeah. So you got the Medal of Valor, fair play. Ben Stiller in the video. I haven't seen that, Trapped in the Closet, but my mate is always telling me to watch it. But what do you think of Greta Thunberg being on the panel for CNN on COVID? I mean, it's just it's amazing, man. A girl who bunks off school gets to cut the line in front of people who have actually studied microbiology and virology for saying that it's on CNN, so you wouldn't fucking, yeah, there you go. You just said the same thing at the same time, Sean. It's like, yeah, grand. I mean, they could have put fucking Woody Harrelson on as a meteorologist, It was, like Greta Thunberg is one wronging. Yeah, you get all these kind of people going, what are you doing giving out about like a child? Like, you mean like your man Blind Boy from Rubber Bandits. The only reason he jumped on that bandwagon is for hard coin's sake. He knew it was popular. Instead of going like, if she was any good, man, she wouldn't be brought to Davos. You know what I mean? Davos it's the fucking spring break for global financial elite. Then they have the summer break, which is the Bilderberg meetings as well. Man, anyone who says that the world isn't run by fucking wrongins, just fucking look into it yourself, man. As Eddie Bravo was like, look into it, dude. It stands to reason. It's like you just got human beings are easily corruptible, and when you have people that was it absolute power corrupts absolutely. Yeah, the parents, fucking hell, the parents are probably getting a nice little touch off this. Yeah, that Nazi poster girl with the flowers. Yeah, I did a couple of times. Yeah, I mean, like we got on really fucking well with them, and yeah, it's just like the thing is, like I don't have any personal beef. I mean, like Bobby, the guy who plays Mr. Chrome is fucking sound, man. He's a really, really great guy. And Dave's a nice guy too, or your man Blind Boy. But it's just, I don't know, man. Nowadays he's I would consider him as being he's establishment media, and it's not, I rang him up, like, in fairness, like, I rang him up. I had to do a water meters protest speech in front of fucking 100,000 people, and he gave me good advice for that. And look, there's no personal gripe with him, but it's if you have an audience that big, you have a personal responsibility to be truthful, I think. And he's running a fine line now. He's onto a good thing, and if he puts a foot out of place, he can lose half of his fan base, or and it would have, it's a major disruption. Like, he's got to be careful, because if he says anything that goes against the authoritative narrative, that's, the higher you go up, the fucking the further the fall is, man. But he's a nice dude, man. I had really good crack with him back in the day, and I'd like to hang out with him again and just have like a. I could get in touch and see if he want to come on my podcast. I don't know if he would even get back to me these days, but I would like a frank and an open discussion. You know what I mean? And I'd be up for that. Let me see, I'll have a look at some of your. Davos is shady. Of course it is, man. David Icke with the reptile take. I think David Icke maybe uses the reptiles to kind of give himself a mask of. I think in some ways it's to. If he was to come out just saying all this shit without that, then I don't think he would be around today. It's enough. It's enough of a smokescreen. But hey, do you know who the fuck? Who knows? Like, I mean, I'm not saying I believe in it, but who the fuck knows? At this stage, I wouldn't be fucking surprised. Her parents are shagged out junkies who hit the asshole Lauren. Voice of a plonker. Shaggy Boy 69 is kind of just like a real life Hardy book who lives in Roscommon. I gotta check this out as well, man. Gotta check this out. Hold on. Shaggy Boy 69. I remember there was a fucking brilliant documentary years ago about, I don't know if it's about drink driving or something. There was a lad who looked a bit like the character of Eddie Durkin in Galway. He goes, I think it was about like anger, and he was like, I get fucking awful angry, man, road rage, the whole lot, and it just goes into a shed and starts walloping the fucking punch bag in wearing a white vest. I'd love to know what that was. No results found for that, unfortunately. She's a fool, and she will look back in a few years' time and wonder why the fuck we were giving that soap dodger voice. I mean, see, like, the thing is, right? There'd be a lot of fucking, the fucking Twitterati, they're closed-minded. They like to think that they're open-minded, but they're not. They've accepted they've accepted a way of thinking, and they won't deviate it. The sign of an intelligent mind is someone who can admit they're wrong, someone who can entertain an idea without it changing their opinion. And people don't want to entertain any ideas for the fear that their whole paradigm will be shifted. It's normalcy bias, and it's cognitive dissonance. The Labour back in town. Varadkar spent the entire time there with Brexit negotiations were at high noon. Shows where his allegiance were. Where was he? In Davos, was it? Hitting the lab. Good night, Occam's brute, man. Take care. Thanks for tonight. Yeah, this was supposed to be an hour, but fuck it. You can get this will do you for the week. Leo rules shite joints. Davos, that is, yeah. Obamagate, yeah. I've been following what it's about. It's basically about Obama using the Pfizer warrant to spy on General Flynn, and Joe Biden signed off on it, and they probably need to. There's probably a reason for those warrants as well. At some point, you go from nothing to lose, then get big, and then suddenly fearing losing it all. Absolutely, absolutely. Whereas I kind of feel like I'm back to who I was, and it's nice. I like being on the down low. Why does Cialis make your face so hot? Asking for a friend. What's Cialis? Shaggy Boy's on Instagram. The fella is just a spacer from Roscommon. You'd have to see it. Can someone send me a link to that in the Discord group, please? Do you think it was the biggest Irish gobshite to come out of TV? Well, a lot of them, really, isn't there? Do you know what I mean? It's fucking 10 a penny, man. Do you know what I mean? I think sometimes people need to take some Mitty Turbos and just get along. Absolutely. Absolutely. That pills are what destroyed football hooligans, hooligan culture in England back in the early 90s. Everyone who was all fighting just all of a sudden started taking pills and having great times together. And it was like, no, why do I want to fight that guy, man? I was on pills, but it was fucking great crack. Tell me about his nan and his dog. So, yeah. Would you get Jim O'Doherty on the podcast? Yeah, I don't know, man. That would be like a lot of people give out about her and they're giving her a hard time. And some of her stuff is a bit. I think she's attached to some fucking absolute loonies at this stage. But again, my opinion is she was an award-winning journalist, but I don't think she basically has the charisma of an RT newsreader. Do you know what I mean? She kind of. I think she's attacking like the wrong people. Like she's going after like the working man, so to speak, and it hasn't really done her any favors. But it's I don't know. It would be interesting to get her on, but like the thing is, this is the other thing. If you choose to get people on a podcast and have a chat, I think then you're judged. Oh, why did you give that person a platform? But I kind of think you should have anyone on to chat. Really, I mean that's why Joe Rogan did so well, because he gets unpopular people as well as popular people to have their say. And maybe I would. You know what I mean? I don't see, like, she got an awful lot of shit, herself and John Waters, because they wanted to open the country up. Whatever your opinion is, there was a lot of people on Twitter who were giving out saying, "Oh, look at these gobshites." But at the end of the day, I mean, it looks to me like they're trying to bring freedom to people. I mean, it's there's a virus out there, but man, the fucking country is going to be so fucking so debt laden soon. Like, I mean, we haven't even really got over the last recession, and now this. I mean, man, what the fuck is going to happen? It's going to be another IMF job, and all our resources are going to be sold off again. I don't know, man. But I mean, like, I think everyone needs to band together and put the fucking differences aside, and then have clear discussions. But people they're reluctant to have discussions anymore, and I think that's a sad state of affairs when people, like, it doesn't mean if you disagree on one point, then everything that you throw the baby out with the bathwater. So that's my opinion. Were you ever considered for a host of Republic of Telly? No, sure, they barely fucking got me in it. Let me see. I'll just check your comments. Shaw says, I'd give Gemma the right and throw the leg over for the fuck. Interesting. American politics is so fucked. Obama refuses to do his presidential portrait and Trump refuses to present him. Speaker of the House calls it President morbidly obese. It's like fucking high school. Do you know what, Louis, man? It's what a time to be alive, man. Do you know what I mean? It's just the world is it's so fucking crazy these days. It's mental. And I've kind of just come to the George Carlin conclusion where I'm like, just let it happen, man. Just fucking observe and just laugh, because that's all you can. It's like that guy or the fucking or it was a woman or a trans woman, for Ferocious Steph or whatever her name is, who is now going to be the Twitch ambassador of safety and has fucking deergasms. It's like, this person is mentally unstable and certainly shouldn't be in charge of people's online user experience. Do you think Irish are bad for the cigarettes compared to other countries? Yeah, they're quite bad for. I mean, like I notice when I go back, there's definitely a lot more people smoking. Cigarettes are a fucking waste of time, man. They're the only reason I ever got into smoking was because I got addicted to nicotine when smoking joints. Maths exam tomorrow, lads. Good luck, Enda. Fair play to you. I wish you luck there. That's not an easy one. How's your ADHD these days? It's good days and bad days, man. You know what I mean? It's good days. I have to be in a. It's all about momentum. If you get into a good positive workflow, just a balancing act, to be honest with you. But it's grand. It's like a superpower, especially if you can use it well. It's liberating losing it all, or end it. You'll be grand. Oh yeah, sorry. The online school is a load of bollocks anyway. Online school, man. Fucking hell. How boring is that? Well, at least you're at home. It's got to count for something. She's lost the plot since the husband died. Really, like I don't know an awful lot about her, to be quite honest with you. Jenna's racism crusade is embarrassing. Yeah, that's she's not doing herself any favors with that kind of stuff. I mean, the whole Maurice McCabe thing was a huge massive story. But I mean, like, you know, like some of the things, like I agree with some of the things she comes out with. I disagree on other things. You know, I think just fucking, you know, call the things you disagree and encourage the things you agree with. You know, it's again, the marketplace of discussion should be discussed. But when people start throwing ad hominem attacks at each other, it's very difficult to de-escalate. If you're having an argument with someone and it goes off topic and you start throwing shit at each other and calling each other personal insults, very rarely you're going to de-escalate that. So, well, only people like you make having crazy world super fun. Thank you very much. I'm an observer, man. Do you know what I mean? I observe the world around me, and it's fucking mental. Who would win in the all time? Who wins Prime Ali or Mike Tyson? That would be an unreal fight, actually. I'd say Tyson, man, because he was just a fucking animal, man. Do you know what I mean? He was a scary dude. Iron Mike. Amazon Prime Time. Didn't think you'd be following the Twitch drama. Oh man, yeah. I followed that from I was on Twitter. I tried to stay off Twitter because it's just aggravating, but sometimes it's good to see what's going on in the world. Tyson bites Ali's wang. Yeah, she's a fucking weird one, right? Off the Irish podcast, your man who bet Eubank Senior, Steve Collins. Hardy Bucks new season would be great for pubs getting back on their feet, or would be. What's his producer's money? What's your man Prince Andrew doing? He's gone very quiet lately, hasn't he? That's probably my well, if it wasn't demonetized, it is now. I didn't know you were into the Twitch world. The DM man is a fucking disgrace, bragging about his power. He'll abuse it. Yeah, I've seen that. It was like, you know, it's just someone who should have just had parents who Maybe he did. Maybe his parents were too fucking soft. Who knows, man? I don't know. But like that's the kind of person who will willfully abuse their power, and it's not good. But Gemma Doherty is an opportunist who doesn't believe in half the shite she talks. Do you know what, man? It's she brings on a lot of fucking a lot of shit on herself, and it's amazing how it's like I don't know, like I like in fairness, I like the fact that she goes against authority, but there's ways of doing it, man. Do you know what I mean? It's it was interesting, like when she came out to see someone who was from mainstream media addressing certain things that are more so in independent media, but like it's kind of like it's almost like listening to a geography teacher. It's the tone of her voice, man. You know what I mean? And yeah, I kind of haven't really been following it, to be quite honest. I always wear a suit, Danny. I always wear a suit. She would be jailed for the amount of guard time she's wasted. Yeah, there was a video going around on WhatsApp of her just like giving out to the guards, and it's like, man, you're not doing yourself any favors. These are people in work. You know what I mean? Of course, there's fucking a lot of gone-bean corrupt guards out there who have double standards, but like, I've got family members who are guards and whatnot, and like the neighbors, and they go out and they do a job, and they get into it. There's a lot of people who get into it because they got a chip on the shoulder and they want to like exact some sort of revenge. But most people, it's a civil service, man. People want to make the community safe and do a good job, But listen, dudes, I'm gonna call it a day because it's been a 2-hour podcast, and I was gonna have a fucking just a 1 hour. But thank you all very much for sticking around as long as you did. Yeah, it's been a pleasure, and it's been nice just to be frank about this, and yeah, I mean, and thank you very much. Give us an old thumbs up there before you leave, and for any of you who haven't subscribed, subscribe. And it's been really nice talking to you, everybody. And yeah, I thought it'd be nice just to have just me and the laptop having a little chat, chewing the fat. Yeah, the podcast will hopefully be up tomorrow. And for any of you who are on Patreon, I'll get the next installment of the Hardy book up there as well. There should definitely be some good laughs. But good night and God bless, everyone. Talk to you soon. Good luck.